Yeah, it's an interesting question that, a lot of things that we kind of take for granted are just normal parts of civilized behavior. When you unpick them, and sociologists are good at this, right? They love to unpick normal behavior and say, okay, what's really going on? For example, the standard view, roughly speaking, in it feels like welfare economics, is that there's your personal well-being, like do you have adequate food, shelter, warmth, company, and so on, and then there's your other regarding preferences, like what do you think about, are you happy that other people are suffering, or are you unhappy that they're suffering? So what is the sign of your altruism coefficient, so to speak? And that's a fairly simple model, and obviously, at least it seems obvious that we want people to have a positive altruism coefficient, not a negative one, so that we don't want them to be sadists. But then you look at what are called positional goods. So positional good is a term from economics, which means a good that has not just intrinsic value, but it has value because of its relative quality compared to the goods that other people have. So not just that I have this nice shiny car, but I have a nicer, shinier car than my next door neighbor, right? And of course that sounds, an unpleasant kind of attitude to have. But then, your pride in winning a Nobel Prize is also, to some extent, well, I have this Nobel Prize and you don't, right? If everyone had a Nobel Prize, we wouldn't value the Nobel Prize very much. And people complain about this in preschool, where everyone gets the prize, that the prize becomes meaningless. And so the value of the prize is precisely as a positional good. And when the more you think about it, the more you realize, a big chunk of our self-esteem and our feelings of achievement and success and so on are really positional goods. And positional goods act exactly like sadism, meaning that they're sort of based on the difference between my intrinsic well-being and your intrinsic well-being. And so I can increase that difference by decreasing your well-being, right? I can be better off if you're worse off. And it's a negative altruism coefficient. So it's possibly something that we might want AI systems might gradually try to reduce in our society, because it has all kinds of negative side effects, right? It's really, you end up with a kind of a negative sum game that we're playing with each other. But that would be a huge change, right? And maybe we're just not ready for that, right? Maybe just our culture and upbringing and the whole way of thinking is around this notion of relative success, and it would be too much of a change to have that happen, to have that removed all at once. So it would have to be a very careful process to do that.